Why do you think one decides to commit a crime? Childhood, from their traumas and development? They're born with genetics, maybe, from family members, or maybe it's for self-pleasure to release anxiety. In the 1970s, Ted Bundy killed many people, specifically women, but there are also many who are unaccounted for. There's a movie about him, and it really shows who he is and the type of person he was. He used his charm to murder, rape, and kidnap his victims. To prepare, I did several hours of research over the course of the past week to become knowledge and be able to give this speech to you guys today. Researching and studying the minds of criminals is something that is interesting. Digging deeper into Ted Bundy's childhood and personal life, talking about his mental health, his victims, and the movies and shows he inspired are some of the things I'll be talking about today. The way he charmed his victims did not make them question him, so they were vulnerable, which made him decide to kidnap them and murder them. Ted Bundy lived a traumatic childhood. His father's identity was never confirmed, but there were suspicions that his mother, Eleanor, her father, was Bundy's dad, his grandfather. He thought his mother was his sister, and his grandparents were his mom and father. Eleanor's father, Samuel, was violent and abusive. If he really was Ted Bundy's father, could he have gotten his genetics, and that is what made him a serial killer? When he was a young child, he expressed disturbing behaviors. He laid knives around the bed of his aunt, and she woke up and he was standing next to the bed, smiling. He tried to hit a kid in the back of the head with a stick. He forged lift tickets to go skiing because he was too poor to actually buy a ticket to go skiing. He attempted car theft as well. He did well in school. He graduated high school and went to University of Puget Sound, and then went to University of Washington. He graduated from University of Washington, and he eventually got into law school, even though he had poor grades. He stopped going to law school in April, which was around the time people started to go missing. Although he had a rough childhood, he was intelligent, so now we're going to look at his mental health. Psychologists studied Ted Bundy's for decades. Some believe that he was not born with this, but it was from his childhood trauma. Others believe genetics and through mental health caused this, resulting in him being born a serial killer. 73 psychologists at University of Kentucky in 2007 studied Ted Bundy and his mental illness. Anti-personality disorder was one of them. Symptoms of that are manipulation and lack of sympathy and remorse. 95% of psychologists at Kentucky said he had a narcissistic personality disorder. Symptoms include excessive to attract others' attention and feelings of entitlement or superior. Kentucky also said that he had borderline personality disorder, which includes symptoms of impulsion and unstable relations between friends, family members, intimate relationships with girlfriends, as well as addictive disorder. He used this to ease anxiety or depression. A psychiatrist from New York University Medical Center diagnosed him with bipolar excessive mood swings. Bipolar, which is symptoms of excessive mood swings. He had many victims, and he used his charm and killed many people in several different states. He would use his charm to win their trust. He would approach them in public and then kidnap them. All victims looked like his ex, who he dated in college, and she broke up with him. 12 of his victims' heads were decapitated, and he kept them in his house as souvenirs. It's believed to be said that his first kill was at 14 years old in Tacoma, Washington in 1961 of an 8-year-old girl. A movie was also inspired by Ted Bundy because he helped the police catch another serial killer. It was called Silence of the Lamb. Zac Efron starred as Ted Bundy in a movie, and Ted also talked in several episodes about himself and his killings. Now to review what we learned about Ted Bundy. He had a rough childhood, but he was generally smart. Traumas could have triggered him becoming a serial killer. He only confessed to 30, but the real number is unknown to how many victims he actually had. He committed heinous crimes. He also represented himself in court. He proposed to his girlfriend at the time while she was on the witness stand during his trial. He escaped during trial, but on January 24th, 1989, he was executed by electrocution at the Florida State Prison.